Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this panel of the Social Finance Vibe 2024. We're going to be discussing today about funding digital innovations, opportunities, and challenges. And we have very interesting things to hear from our three excellent speakers. But before that, just to introduce myself, my name is Bogdan Delanu. I work on social innovation in the Director General for Employment and Social Affairs in the European Commission. I've worked a little bit in the European Parliament for 15 years, a lot of it on finance, employment and social affairs, new technologies, and the onset of AI. So I've dipped my finger in some of these topics, and I'm very excited to hear our speakers develop them further. We're talking today about the dichotomy between how innovation can assist with social funding, namely digital innovation, but at the same time, how digital innovation itself can be financed and what are the sources for the young people who have an idea, or old people, by the way, have an idea and want to put it into practice, want to see their dream made into a reality, how they can apply, what are some solutions for them, innovative solutions to get the funding that they need, while at the same time, of course, the focus should be on digital innovation also on their side. So yeah, we're going to highlight opportunities and challenges for the implementation of digital innovations under relevant EU policies, programs, and also speak about practitioners who have hands-on experience on these issues, also in countries outside of the European Union. Just to tell you before, we have a technical coordinator, Beata Biela, who I want to thank for helping us, and she can assist us during this session, and you can ask her questions on the chat. Today, we're going to hear, first of all, from Karen Marder-Porten, then from Susanna Bodi, and then from Anna Stameski. We're going to have some questions and answers for them. And the second part of the panel will be questions and answers, ideally from the audience, and the discussions between our panelists. Please raise your hand, ask questions in the chat. Don't hesitate to express your opinions, to make comments. Keep it lively and keep it light. First of all, I will start today with my good colleague, Karel van der Porten. He is working in DG GROW. He's a policy officer of social economy there and focuses on the use of digitalization and new technology within the social economy, on scaling up social business models and the creation of business partnerships within traditional and social economy enterprises. And of course, the financing opportunities for social economy companies and how that can all help social innovation, which, by the way, is something I very much like. Karel, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning, Bogdan. Good morning.
And let me kick off this session by asking you, what is the European Commission doing currently to support innovation in digital funding, and how can digital solutions themselves can be best funding from the point of view? And are there any particular programs you want to highlight or initiatives that you think are interesting for our audience to hear about? And last but not least, what are the coming initiatives, what we have in store for us on these fields in the coming period? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Bogdan. Thank you very much also the organizers for having me and participants to join this panel and listen to us. You introduced me very lengthy and very well, so I will not repeat that. So I will start right away with our policy focus related to the topic. The digital focus and social innovation that then also comes together, of course, under the header or topic of digital social innovation, which is, of course, from my policy background, which is social economy and social enterprise support, a very important topic, as we see that social innovation and by extension digital social innovation is one of the main drivers of overall innovation within social enterprises. Just for those who are not super familiar with the concept, social innovation is a way how to overcome social, societal, but also sometimes ecological challenges by putting forward new tools, new systematic approaches, new methodologies. So I always call it a process. It's not a means as such. It's a way how to overcome those societal challenges in a nutshell. And then, of course, the digital aspect is very important because these days many solutions are found by creating more efficiency, and their digital tools can, of course, help a lot. Also interconnectivity, for example. If you look at, for example, the world of the digital commons, which is very much intertwined with digital social innovation, those offer a lot of new opportunities to civil society, but also, of course, social economy and social enterprises to find new innovations that are already developed elsewhere and that can be adapted, that sometimes even can be copied, and that can also be shared. So this digital commons aspect is a very interesting phenomena related to digital social innovation. So what are we doing from the Commission to support these movements, these phenomena, these trends? From DG Growth's perspective, we have launched a few years ago a new industrial strategy where we recognize proximity and social economy as one of the 14 industrial ecosystems, which is a very is a very important political message in itself, as we recognize social economy as an interesting and relevant part of our European economy. Employing many people, over 10 million in the EU, and there are various strong companies that are represented by the social economy. The industrial strategy had in itself the goal to boost in the digital and green transition of companies in the EU across all ecosystems, and therefore we have designed a kind of strategy for each ecosystem, so also for proximity and social economy, picturing 14 action areas that are essential to boost the green and digital transition of the social economy. This transition pathway in itself led again to many new actions from a funding perspective, but also other type of initiatives to support social enterprises in their digital transition. To boost, for example, digital social entrepreneurship and the social tech or tech for good movements, the digital commons movements, all type of, let's say, phenomena that exist in this world of civil society and social economy, social entrepreneurial mode, that use digital means to offer new business solutions, new business models, new products, new services, but also those societal solutions I was referring to earlier. To give you one non-funding example, because I think it's also important, I will briefly highlight that we are developing currently, and we will publish this by the end of the month on the 28th of November, a code of conduct on the use of data within social enterprise, and also how data can be shared between social enterprises to boost, for example, their impact, but also to optimize their economic efficiency. And therefore, we have seen that within the social economy, there is a firm request to position social economy against this, not against, but towards this data world and the opportunities, but also to make social enterprise more warm for these opportunities. Then the second part I wish to speak about today is funding opportunities. There are a huge amount of funding opportunities, and I will mention a few of them, but I will first of all say that there is a very helpful guide, and I think that I also highlighted already last year in my intervention, but I keep on repeating it because it was funded by the Commission and it's very well received by the sector, which is a guide made by Euclid Network. It's a funding toolkit specifically designed for social enterprise. So also identifying many opportunities in relation to social innovation and even digital social innovation. So I can very much recommend you to have a look at this guide. I added it to the resources here in the Zoom system because it can give you also very tangible examples of projects that were funded. The first program that I want to go a bit more specific is a program that we have. You will see it also on the top on my background is the Single Market Program. I also added a link with all the social economy related calls that were published in the past and that are still open today to support social enterprise. And last year we had a very interesting one, which is boosting digital boosting the digital transition of social enterprises and social economy organizations, mostly focusing on SME size organizations, which is of course the majority within the social economy. This call gives a very interesting potential to this broad field of the social economy to invest in the capacity that is needed to make this digital transition happening. And there we focus on two different elements. The first element is very I would not say boring, but very, let's say, basic to transform organizations, or to allow them, to give them the tools to transform their organizational capacity and their processes into a digital mode. Many of them have set the first steps, of course. Some are really laying behind on track. Others are really front running. So we want to bring those also together to have learnings in between them. So this is just digitizing your work process, digitizing your organizational structure, and so on, like any SME basically has to do. But we added a second element, which is quite unique for the social economy, and that is boosting digital social innovation within social enterprise. So make them, let's say, agile to innovate, make them, trigger them to innovate, to think about their process. What type of innovation can we implement, can we also explore through digital social innovation tools that are around, and also the expertise that is present within the social economy. So that is one very particular call that is now fully in the run. We have now 2 other calls open, which are not directly related to digital transition, but which have very strong links with digital social innovation, because it's again about building the capacity. It's about circular economy. Innovations where also digital tools can be of help. So this is a very important program that I wish to highlight, because it's not very known. The single market program is usually perceived not as a supportive program for social economy, but have a look at the link that I posted into the resource, and you will see that many different calls were launched in the past, and there are still 2 calls open with a deadline for December this year. A second very important element, and that is of course the world of Bogdan, but I think it's very important to highlight, is ESF, where we have the Social Innovation Competence Centers, which is a very, let's say, new, not so new anymore. It's existing since a few years, where the management authorities are grouping together in consortia across the EU to invest in transnational collaboration between actors of different regions and member states, and to focus on the specific aspect of social innovation. Of course, digital social innovation can be targeted also under these programs, because there are very different support initiatives developed within these competence centers. I also posted the link in the resource, so have a look in which country you are represented by a competence center and where particular calls might be. And this is usually also focused in the sense of a transnational collaborative project. And the last one that I wish to highlight, which is also not super known, is the European Innovation Council, which is a program under Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is a program that is, of course, mostly known by the stakeholders, and wherein itself under, for example, the clusters and cluster 4 industry, there are a lot of opportunities for digital innovation in the large sense, but not so much on social innovation. But under the EIC, there is one particular prize, for example, which is a social innovation competition, where regularly digital aspects are highlighted or are part of the topic. We had, for example, a few years ago, the rebooted topic, where only digital social innovation projects were selected and were helped to build also their project or their startup or their business. The EIC in itself is a program that is very interesting, because it's focusing on individual SMEs and enterprises. So there, if you have an innovative idea, so also from a very startup phase, you can apply for this program, and you can potentially enjoy the support of the European Innovation Council. I will keep my intervention there, because I think I'm already hitting the end of my speaking time, but I wanted to give you a flavor of several specific programs, but also, of course, the policy narrative that we have behind the support for the social economy at large, but also to how we focus on digital social innovation and digital companies within the social economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karel. That was really interesting. Especially thank you for using so many, adding so many resources. To anybody who doesn't know, on the Zoom page, you have on the bottom the button resources or more. In the more, you'll find the resources, and there Karel has added some links, which I really recommend for you to open and read after the event. And thank you for the shout out to the ESF. I took the liberty to also add one link of myself to the Social Innovation Match, which is a database of successful projects or projects we want to highlight further. Now, we move from the institutional perspective of the European Commission to the more practical, down-to-life perspective of somebody who is, directly involved with it. It's my pleasure to introduce Susanna Bodi, who's the program director for Strive EU. It's based in Budapest, and is she runs Caribou Digital, which has a philanthropy fund, receiving application, I think, all over Europe. And you're actually giving prizes to winners, and you're going to shortly announce them after this social finance vibe. You offer support to micro and small and medium enterprises on digital know-how, on AI, on cybersecurity, and particularly on embedded finance and ESG. And you have a lot of hands-on approach through this program with how people innovate the digital social sector, but also how they access finance, especially digitally, for their social action. Now, I'm really curious to hear from you if you can talk a little bit more about how MasterCard's new European flagship program for small businesses works, what is its mission, and what are challenges and opportunities you found running this innovation fund applications. And maybe you can give us some example of a microfinance or social enterprise finance provider among your project beneficiaries that you would like to highlight for us, because we really all want to know about very concrete examples. So Susanna, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bogdan, for the very detailed introduction. I welcome also all the guests of this session. And indeed, I'm glad to give you some insight to this program, which was launched a year ago. But in fact, the implementation of the projects is very, very fresh. The Innovation Fund winners have been just announced this Monday. So I'm happy to tell you the story, where we started, where we are now, and what are our future plans. But first and foremost, what is this initiative at all? So we talk about the MasterCard Strive initiative, which is a global portfolio of MasterCard Center for Inclusive Growth programs, which supports small businesses worldwide. And the European chapter, MasterCard Strive EU, is the latest addition to this initiative, which is implemented by our team, Caribou Digital, in collaboration with the European Microfinance Network. The core objective of the program is to boost the resilience and growth of European micro and small businesses, and to help them get capital, go digital, and access networks and know-how. There are two core pillars of the program: the Innovation Fund, which is granting solutions to support digital solutions, importantly in this context, to support small businesses to navigate Europe's twin transition to a more digital and sustainable economy, and to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem by giving access to stakeholder networks, public sector initiatives, and an advisory body called the European Small Business Council, which consists of industry and public sector representatives who will be in touch throughout the program with all the winners and our initiative. And I really hope that today we will get some additional interest from the participants. Regarding the Innovation Fund, between January and March, we received close to 500 applications from all over Europe to offer B2B solutions, digital solutions to support small businesses. And we accepted applications from 4 core domains: unlocking working capital and credit through embedded finance, go digital safely by bolstering cybersecurity, navigate evolving customer preferences and regulatory expectations around environmental sustainability, and finally, harness AI to save time and make more money. Now, throughout the summer, there was a very thorough analysis and evaluation of the applications and also due diligence check. And well, basically, we arrived to Monday, where we were glad to announce the 10 winners from 8 countries who were the ones excelling the most and the best these 4 areas, with the hope to impact small businesses with in the highest level. Our team from the Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning department analyzed all these 500 applications, and they were looking into finding patterns and trending key highlights when it comes to opportunities and challenges these innovators, startups, so those who applied, represented and emphasized. So this is just a small snippet from obviously all the 500 applications, and I'm really glad to invite you to check out our website in about a month's time. As November the 20th, we are publishing the overall findings from all the applications called the State of the European Small Businesses Landscape Edition 2024. I will also put in the chat some links which will be useful for those interested. But to highlight some of these findings, not so surprisingly, basically the biggest trend was the financing gap between many, if not all of the applications, expressing the lack of access to financing, which is still the biggest challenge for EU startups and innovators. And also this innovation fund was open for basically any size of companies. So it did not have to be only startups applying, and they could apply to grants up to 500,000 euros. And maybe because of the size of the grant, those were mainly startup categories applying, and they are more fragile when it comes to working capital, unlike established firms with more stable revenue. Another pattern which my colleagues highlighted are around distribution and partnership channels. Basically, to reach small businesses in an efficient and affordable manner, it is essential to connect with many of the micro and small businesses simultaneously. And this calls for a robust distribution platform and partnership with existing networks throughout Europe, and well-built relationships, along with an embedded finance lender to streamline access to the funds. Also, when it comes to know-how of the clients, the customers, these small businesses, again, when it comes to affordability, this required the innovators to rethink their solutions and their business models. We've received applications from different size organizations who already were serving, let's say, SMEs or even bigger companies, but to be able to apply for this fund, which was specifically for micro companies below 10 employees, they had to shift their existing business models and solutions. And this is a segment, distribution and partnership, which oftentimes startups are not prioritizing. Another finding throughout the analysis of these applications is that gender gap remains in leadership roles among EU startups applying to Innovation Fund, and also the finance gap for women founders is particularly pronounced. Finally, what we've also witnessed is that many of these applicants were looking for support around networking and marketing objectives, which is something that through the MasterCard Strive Innovation Fund, we are relatively easily can provide them with. But again, this program is also about ecosystem building. So we call for action also to further networks, the European Commission, public bodies to support this initiative and our projects which are in action now. And I also promised to provide you with a concrete example, a case study, or actually a project which was funded to illustrate what kind of digital solutions have been funded. So one of the Innovation Fund winner from Luxembourg called Valerian is developing basically a one-stop shop automated solution for small businesses to access working capital basically anytime. Through this solution, within 24 hours, applicants will receive an offer and a funding plan based on their e-commerce and digital marketplace data. And also what is quite special is that Valerian offers revenue share based repayment mechanism instead of fixed installments, which are the more traditional way. And this Innovation Fund winner, similarly to many others, also are integrating AI components to their solutions. And they are experimenting with a an AI-supported analytics chatbot throughout their system, which will enable these small businesses to get better access of analysis on their data and gain new insights and recommendations based on their existing portfolio and activities with their customers. So basically, this is it in a nutshell, which I wanted to express on firsthand. I'm happy to answer any questions and provide you with more information. And to close with, I'm going to just drop these links in the chat window and the resources. As I mentioned, in about a month's time, you will get access to an approximately 50 to 80 pages long report, very detailed report on these innovation fund applications and state of European small businesses. And we welcome also additional stakeholders to join this initiative. So thank you so much, and I will be looking forward to the questions.
Thank you very much, Susanna. It's very interesting. I'm a big fan of AI integration in digital solutions. So really, that was an example very dear to my heart. It's everybody's using chatbots, but using them used successfully, it's very important. And of course, the rest of the very interesting things you presented, we're looking forward also to develop them by reading the links you're going to add in the resources. Now, last but definitely not least, it's my pleasure to introduce Anna Stameski, who's the Director of Digital Channels at the 3 Bank in Serbia, who has 15 years of experience in the field, having covered digital education, digital signing of contracts, helping small farmers and entrepreneurs with a project launch, I think in September, that offers loans through a digital process, digitally signed, and of course offers the education and digital management of the loans and financing, which is something I think quite innovative, because you're trying to really bridge the gap between the people from the social economy who need this help and the very high-tech management of these loans and on this financing. So I really look forward to hear from you, Anna, and maybe you can tell us now what is your experience with digital innovation funding, and especially what source of funding have you been able to access to support your digital solutions? And maybe describe itself the inclusive digital solution for these small farmers that we know you work with. How do you engagement in the process? What are the challenges and the benefits of this interaction? You have the floor.
Thank you, Bogdan, for introducing me. I'm really happy to be with you today and share some digital insights. When we are talking about digital innovation funding, grants and similar facilities are of great importance as an accelerator of digitalization, encouraging organizations to undertake digital initiatives despite different risks they bear. Talking about our experience with digital initiative funding, 3 Bank has recently started its digital transformation, and fortunately, the Transform Together Fund was active when our digital project started. So we heard about the open call for applying, and indeed, we didn't have to look for other sources of funding at that moment. Just we were lucky. And 3 Bank has been selected as one of the grantees of TTF Fund, a green and digital transition fund for social finance sectors and micro entrepreneurs, managed by Microfinance Center and Ceres plus SPTF. The project, as you know, is funded by the European Commission under the Employment and Social Innovation, and the objective of the project is to develop and test a variety of innovative solutions, helping the target group to develop and test their digital initiative, such as low-income, women, farmers, migrants, etc. In addition to grants, I think it's a very valuable opportunity to participate in training and peer exchanging and access to expert mentoring and capacity building are also provided. So I have to say that we easily applied for the grant. MFC and Ceres recognize the positive social impact of our project on farmers in rural areas, and 40,000 euros was approved for co-financing our digitalization. Thanks to TTF funds, we covered the cost of the software for our digital solution. Therefore, I warmly recommend the organization apply for similar funding programs when available. When we come to our digital project and general impact which we make, before answering on this question, I would like to mention that 3Bank business is impact-driven, as the figures on the presentation show. Here are some figures presenting our positive social impact, especially among farmers, a segment in which 3Bank is a leader, with a market share of 52% and entrepreneurs with 35%. Given the leading position among registered households, the digital solution we developed is aimed at digitally signing loan documentation among farmers, enabling loan origination and time to cash in 1 hour. Our digital solution relies on the digital initiative of the Serbian e-government, which provided over 300,000 farmers with a consent ID application, which is a convenient tool for digital signing and accessing e-services. Therefore, our use case is loan officer visit farmers at their household, use a tablet application, which is key tool for collecting data and delivering loan approvals, and which has been used for years at 3Bank. During the interactive process between the loan officer and farmers, clients access the documentation following the link in the text message and signs it by using a qualified electronic signature in cloud in mobile application. What makes this digital solution unique is a retained personal touch with the loan officers who visit and guide farmers to sign digitally and educate them how to use qualified electronic signature on mobile consent ID application. This on-site support by loan officers is crucial for engaging farmers in digital process because building trust and educating them on how to use digital tools and in the first place, releasing them from fear of trying something new and accept the changes in general. In addition, when we talk about convenient digital solution for rural clients, it is obvious that solution must be plain and simple. I think this is of critical importance, especially regarding digital solution for micro clients, among whom digital illiteracy is still quite high. Of course, there is a lot of benefits our clients are gaining, as are cash in 1 hour with the no bank visit, a seamless signing process, see and approve concept, no data entry on their own, personal relationship that build trust and support, and training on how to exploit public e-services provided by e-government. We educate farmers to access e-platforms like e-agrar, e-tax, e-government by using consent ID application and obtain numerous certificates and data for farming and personal purposes. So I have to conclude that looking at its process through client eyes, the process is seamless, see and approve, no data entry from client side, therefore quite simple for clients. And for this reason, we are pretty sure that this digitalization will success in next period. So we have just released this solution, and we are going to scale it in next period.
Thank you so much, Anna. Very interesting as well. And this concludes the introductory part from our panelists. Now, I'm going to ask the audience if you have any questions, if you want to react. You can ask Beata to allow to speak. So you can raise your hand under the attendees tab, and there you can let us know if you have any questions. I'm looking at it, or you can write them in the chat. And if while you guys are thinking, I'm gonna ask some questions myself in the meantime, and I'll start actually with the other way around. Anna, to develop a bit further your intervention, can you tell us what other opportunities and challenges do you think you face with accessing funding for digital innovation? And actually, how do you think is the key to succeed with implementing these programs with a provider like 3Bank? What's your view on that?
Yeah,
and actually, I'll add to this a question from Abbas, also to you. If the open banking has provided new opportunities that were not there before.
Yeah, thank you, Bogdan. I'm going to answer to you first. Generally, digital funding sources are appearing, that's the fact, and which is a favorable circumstances for raising digital initiatives. However, they are mostly dedicated to some specific digital technology and often not easily applicable to microfinance provider. In my opinion, there is a huge room to improve this part of supporting of a digital initiative. And I'm very happy that we heard about the new initiatives under European Commission that Karel mentioned at the beginning. When we're talking about success of digital solution, we should be aware that those are expensive and should target key pain points in the process, not necessarily full process digitalization. And to have in mind that they should bring value to clients and a return on investment to the organization. My message in general and some kind of advice for organization regarding digitalization is do not invest if you don't see an impact at the end of the road, and test your solution with clients before deciding on the development. Key challenge I see that most organizations face is a high investment in a modern, robust solution that do not fit customers, and of course fail for this reason. So this is of critical importance, especially regarding digital solution for micro clients having in mind high digital illiteracy. And in general, digital initiative is worth trying, even if it might fail, because it gives us valuable learning lessons and insights that help us selecting the right path for digitalization in future. I hope I give you an answer, Bogdan. And the second,
yes, it's a very good answer. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely, designing the programs with functionality in mind for the clients, let's say, where the targets is really important. Definitely, we sometimes see, especially in the digital sector, where form is very important, actually, than substance. In some cases, people design programs for the way they look and for the way they design. And we have a question in the chat actually for Susanna, and it's interesting because I also had a question for Susanna from Anita Thiessen from Youth Business International. Are there any insights for a different or changing role for networks that support BDS providers like hers? And I would add that also, Susanna, maybe you can tell us more how can interested parties get involved in your program and what's next for it as well.
Thanks, Bogdan, and also Anita for the question. Indeed, one of the components of this innovation fund is the financial support of the projects which have been selected, and we monitor them quite regularly. But more importantly, there is also a non-financial support component, which includes technical mentoring, but equally business development and marketing, network access services. And this is where I tap into the ecosystem building component. So we have volunteers basically who have joined already the so-called Small Business Council. But also beyond that, we really welcome any other entities and organizations to join this initiative. Please feel free to reach out to me personally. I also dropped in the resources specific links to our social media and website, because we basically have tailor-made support system built for all these projects. And going a little bit beyond the project, because talking about 10 programs does not seem to be very sizable, right? However, as I mentioned earlier, when we selected these programs, we specifically looked into the impact they aim to have through connecting to small businesses and impacting small businesses. So overall, hopefully in about a year time, when we will have a next Social Finance Vibe conference, I will be able to give you a much more quantitative information, how many small businesses these companies have reached within 12 months time. And also we will be basically monitoring and creating insights components, how their journey is going on when it comes to business development and marketing services. So I hope that I answered your questions. The changing role, well, to be honest, I think what is important to take into account is that we are working in a technological domain and everything is very disruptive and happening fast. Therefore, something that we've already experienced and witnessed, that we need to surround ourselves with technical experts who are up to date in the specific domains these companies are working in. And for that reason, I think working with networks who have access very relatively easily in an agile manner to these experts from all over Europe and beyond is something key. I think I managed to respond both questions, but happy.
Yes, very
to
good.
have
Thank you very
others.
much, Susanna. That was really, really useful. Now we also have a question that I'll address to Karel from Anita, which is basically if are any particular opportunities, challenges that panelists have identified for young entrepreneurs under 30. And maybe Karel, you want to take this on, and I'll add to this also my request to share with us any success stories from the programs and the various grassroots cases that you have encountered in your work on this topic.
This is a quite difficult question. We have, of course, various programs that are focusing on startups and new businesses. Many of them are, of course, developed by young entrepreneurs. We have also the Youth Entrepreneurship Academia, which is also focusing partly on social enterprises, which is a very recent initiative, but which also wants to focus, for example, on collaboration with universities. One of the ideas behind our initiatives on collaboration with universities is that following, for example, the Mondragon model, where we don't make a distinction between social enterprise type of, let's say, masters or study areas, that this could be some kind of a horizontal perspective in every master degree, and that is entrepreneurial skills should be present, that students should be pushed to become entrepreneurs, and that within those schemes and those business support schemes also social entrepreneurship is included, and not only towards business schools and economic degrees. So this is some kind of an aspect that we want to pursue very much. Also within our program focusing on regional collaboration, so the European Social Economy Regions network, where we push and bring together regions to develop social enterprise strategies. There is also always a very clear focus on how to mobilize youngsters in regions, because usually they are also behind many new programs, initiatives, and also startups. It's a bit a generic reply from my side, I admit, but we don't have any more specific programs focusing explicitly on young people and social entrepreneurship beyond the YEPA I mentioned in the beginning of my intervention.
Thank you,
I will
Karel.
also add a link to the YEPA, by the way, that might be helpful for you to have a look.
Sure. I see. Now, that is one of the difficulties of the working at the European Commission that I can share. Normally, that we work a lot on the programming and on in the interaction between the managing authorities, but sometimes that keeps us disconnected from the grassroots while also trying to, think about them. And I'm reminded what Anna was saying, like designing with people in mind. And dealing with that. Now, I'm looking to the chat if there's anybody else who wants to interact. And I'm also going to offer the speakers, so the three panelists, Susanna, Karel, and Anna, if you want to ask each other questions or make any comments on each other's presentation, now is the time, because we have a little bit of time left. Anybody wants to question one of their fellow panelists? Don't be shy. So, Karel, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to ask a question, because I was very much interested by both of your presentations, because you're very used to work with enterprises and people with an idea to set up a startup, or already are advanced in their process of creating a business. So I think that is very you have a lot of knowledge in that sense also on the ground, because we from the Commission, of course, always approach this from a more, let's say, macro perspective. So it's very interesting to engage with people like you that can tell us how it works in real life, let's say. And there I'm always triggered by these discussions that we have on how to support digital startups, digital social startups, and what are the differences between social entrepreneurs and mainstream companies or entrepreneurs that have not necessarily a social mission embedded in their product, in their service that they want to develop, or their business model that they want to develop. What is, in your experience, the biggest difference, or is there not so much a difference? Because sometimes when I discuss with people like you, they just say, yeah, in the end, if you create a business, you have to pay the bills at the end of the month. You have your goal, even that is an impact goal. You still have to have a profitable model. So in the end, they are confronted with the same challenges. But I want to know from you what is your experience and how you look at those different worlds and different motivations behind a startup.
Thank you, Karel, for the question. I'll invite who wants to go first, Susanna or Anna. Susanna, I'll invite you, and then we'll have Anna.
Okay, happily. Thanks, Kara. Great question. In fact, I think it's also very timely when it comes to my personal engagement in this program, because this specific initiative of MasterCard is a philanthropy fund. And I must say that in my past, I was much more engaged with the traditional startup ecosystem. Just before working on this program, I was in fact working with the European Space Agency to build prototypes with startups going to Mars and so on. And there are a lot of similarities, I think more similarities than differences. So obviously their scale up and business plan is something that we always keep in mind and look at their sustainability plans. Of course, when you talk about deep tech and specifically the EIC programs, there is high risk involved, but this is known by the investors themselves. My experience with the MasterCard Stravio Innovation Fund and many of the companies who applied is that many of them have been also more used to work with the traditional business-oriented ecosystem. Also, it depends on the domain. So as you may remember, I mentioned the 4 different areas: AI, cybersecurity, embedded finance, and ESG, where we received the applications from. And it was very tangible to know that those applications coming from the ESG domain are much more attentive and sensitive to social impact, social-oriented, tangible impact KPIs when it comes to the macro ecosystem. Our role was to open the eyes, and this is something that we do throughout the program for the remainder of the application domains, is that besides the more traditional monitoring of how the funding is spent and where are the insights coming from, is to create this so-called theory of change when it comes to small impact pathways to impact small businesses, and how this is measurable and impactful for the SME sector and serving the small business ecosystem as well. So it's actually a whole methodological level, and we will be very glad to share the insights in a year time when we already have enough data to analyze what has happened throughout these times. But I must say that I think there is less difference than someone would think. And besides that, it's a philanthropy fund, and that's the primary goal, to have a meaningful impact on micro and small businesses. We also want these companies to excel and have a scalable business in the very near future.
Thank you, Zuzana. I'll invite also Anna to react a little bit.
Thank you, Bogdan and Karol, for this question. I will answer from my perspective as a microfinance provider. In general, as I mentioned previously, I think that a lot of funding sources is dedicated to some, I would say, a large or too specific projects, which is obstacle for microfinance organization to apply for, to fit it in that proposal. So I think that there is a room in the future to improve it, and a lot of facilities are dedicated to members of European from Europe, members of Europe. So there is a lot of place to support other microfinance organizations which are not members. So I mean, think about it, and I'm very curious to hear in future regarding funding that the European Commission offer, and which will be convenient for our future digitalization.
Thank you as well. Indeed, we're all looking forward to see what the future has in store for us on this topic. It's very clear that things are moving from all points of Europe and the world on this. There's a big overlap in the world of digital innovation, in the world of social innovation, and there are big needs that are appearing ahead. And as shown by all your very interesting presentations, digital skills have to be ubiquitous now. And of course, the fastest we can make available digital solutions for financing for those people on the ground developing social economy, social projects, social innovation, the less time they will have to consume on this very important topic, but they will have more time to develop to their work, which sometimes is very important for social inclusion and for developing really key solutions for those people who are most vulnerable, or who are like the basis of our societies, and who we really need to find solutions always to help and assist. Now, this was a very satisfying and interesting discussion. I really look forward to hear more from your panelists and to see how these projects develop in the future. I'm going to invite everybody, if they haven't done so already, to check the resource tab and to open the links that have been put there, and to follow our speakers in the future as well. Now, there is a little moment here where I'm going to ask the technical coordinator to launch a session evaluation poll right after I invite you all to continue and follow online the last two sessions of the Social Finance Vibe that are going to close afterwards with a very inspirational talk from Tim Ogden, who's the managing director at the Financial Access Initiative at the New York Wagner University, and then Archil Bakuradze, a practitioner of and chairman of the board of Crystal in Georgia and who's a council chair of Microfinance Center. I want to take the opportunity to thank the Microfinance Center for inviting us and for organizing, putting together these 2 days of events, which have been very, very interesting already. So yeah, continue to follow the Smart Tech, assessing micro and small, medium enterprise credit worthiness, and what are the strategies to empower the next generation. And then the second panel that you can follow is one discussing innovations in social housing of business leaders. And social housing is one of the key topics that are of interest right now for European citizens. The European Commission will have this as one of its priorities. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a really interesting discussion as well to be had. Thank you very much, Beata, for helping us with the technical side of this discussion. I see we have the session evaluation ongoing. Thank you all for clicking it. So with that in mind, I think the poll is done. Again, open the 10 links available in the resources. Follow up through with all these things. Thank you, the speakers. Thank you very much, Karel, Susanna, and Anna, for your presentations and information. I think we can end here, so we have a little bit of a second to drink some water and then connect to the next session. Have a great continuation, everybody. All my best, and thank you.